Thank you.
Very big win. Obvious the physical tests, the physical challenge that was in there against a much bigger, stronger man. So can I just ask you kind of how you feel right now, what this win means to you?
Yeah, man, I'm a little sore right now. He kind of, everything he touched hurt, you know. A really powerful guy, and he's a really mean guy. I try to score points sometimes, move around. Everything he did was looking to just crush you, looking to break you. So that's how I feel right now, but I'm happy it's over with. I'm glad to get him past. You know, it's a tournament. I grew up doing tournaments, and one of the things about it is you gotta advance any way you can, and and then hanging in there and being durable. We got alternates lined up for that very reason. But I think if Rampage and I got lucky anywhere, it was that we got to go first. So we'll have the most recovery.
Nice. You made it clear, takedowns were going to win you this fight, and it did. But in the first round, you were having quite a bit of success on the feet, landing the left hand a little bit, faking the takedown. I'm curious, was that always your strategy? Did you think you would be able to strike them a little bit, or did that just kind of happen on the fly?
No. Well, I don't know if I ever thought about it too much, but I always try to punch my way in and get close, see where the other guy's at, and set him up. I've had fights before where I can't take the guy down, so I work on that stuff every day. I had dreams in 2000 of being an Olympian for boxing. I never talk about it. I ended up pursuing wrestling, but I've been boxing. I think I boxed more than any of these guys have. I don't know that they've ever competitively boxed. I used to competitively box. So, it's definitely plan B for me, but I know how to box.
And last thing for me, Chael, maybe kind of a funny question since you're victorious tonight, but knowing how tough it was and, knowing, as you said, how strong and powerful he was, does it give you any pause at all to think that, the guy that's coming out of the next side of your bracket is going to be a true heavyweight?
Oh, yeah. I got to get better. I got to get better for sure. I got to make some changes. I didn't fully know what I was getting into tonight. I got some sparring partners that are big, but, they're not as good as Rampage. They're not as strong as Rampage. And, so I learned a lot in there tonight. And now I got to get better. I got to make some changes. I don't know that I'll try to get stronger, but some of my movements got to be different. Some angles got to be different. But I didn't know how else to do it. I had to jump in there, right? The date was set. The contract was signed. So, yes, to answer your question, yes, I got to improve.
Chael, I'm curious, when did you add that oblique kick to the knee into your arsenal? Never saw that from you before, but you were going right after Rampage's knee in the first round.
Oh, I saw John Jones had done that to him. John's a little longer than me, but that's kind of where I got that idea. And I was just trying to get close. We had some separation in that fight that was kind of hard to close that distance. Every time I stepped in, he was throwing something really hard, and I was trying to lead with a jab, which isn't as powerful. I was just trying to kind of figure myself out in there.
He was attacking your body pretty severely. It looked like you had a lot of redness on your torso. Can you compare Rampage's power to someone else? I mean, who is the next most powerful guy you've ever felt punches like that from?
Oh, yeah. You know what? Vanderlei Silva actually hit really hard, too. He would be second. Rampage would be one. He hit me somewhere in that fight. I don't know the round in the body. And I went, oh. And he heard that. And he just dropped his hands and he must have hit me 10 more times. But there's nothing I can do. It's a natural reaction when you get hit, right? It doesn't matter if you're a prize fighter or just a regular guy. Is very natural. So I think I tipped him off a little bit there. I didn't have much of a poker face, and I paid for it.
And we know that you and Rampage had a little bit of a bet going into this one. How do you go about collecting that $30K? Are you going to wait for him by the door? Is he going to mail you a check? What's the deal there?
I'll tell you this. We'll see if he is a man of honor. We did shake on that, but I'll tell you the other side. I will not cash his check, but I do expect him to hand me one. But what I do with it is my business, but I'll tell you, I will not cash that check.
Chael, so for most of the leading up to the fight, you were both very cordial, but it seemed like at the weigh-ins and really tonight as you guys were going through the national anthem, the heat was kind of turned on a bit. Did that surprise you considering just how things went leading up to it?
I don't know if I'd use the word surprise, but I mean, this is competition, and I would never try to sell anything. I didn't have heat with Rampage. We did a press tour together. He was a real gentleman. I think he thought the same thing about me, and I wouldn't try to make believe anything or pull it over the fans' eyes or the media's eyes or Rampage's eyes. But when he steps in there, the first chance I get to put a knife in his back, I'm going to do it. And I trust that he knew that about me. And, as he made that walk, it was game on. And the rules are the rules, and we'll operate within the rules, but there's not a whole lot of them.
Right. Right. And then also there's been some talk that the first round was more competitive. I want to ask, how did you feel after the first frame in terms of his striking compared to yours, and did you feel very secure in that round when you went to the stool?
I don't really remember the fight very well. I don't remember any of my fights very well. I got to go back and watch them, but I felt like it was a really hard fight, and I felt like, finding that range was really important because I stepped in it a couple of times. I got too close, and he hit really hard, whether you could see it or not. I mean, I'll tell you, he just hit really hard. So I was trying to find out where to be, and it was a bit of a process. I kind of needed all 3 rounds to do it, quite frankly. I'm still not. If I was in there with him right now, maybe I'd have it figured out by now.
Chael, I've said a lot this week, taking the mickey out of you. Fantastic performance tonight against. He was up for it. He was ready, and even. Do you remember the body slam?
I remember the body slam. Gareth, he let me up. I couldn't believe he let me up. I was stuck underneath him, and I was just getting ready to scramble, and I thought he was coming over the top, and he stood back and let me up, and thank you. Okay, let's go up. But I thought that was a mistake by him. I think he had some real opportunity there.
There was a great atmosphere about the other 6 heavyweights parading in and the national anthem and you guys coming in. Did it mean a lot to you tonight? Because there was a sense of, there was a birth of Paramount Network, but Bellator on Paramount Network. And did you have a great feeling when you walked in there, when you were part of that tonight with all the other guys in there? It was a big moment for the organization.
Yeah, just as a whole. I mean, and first off, I will tell you guys, I told you so. I told you guys about Lima. I warned you about him. I told him you were overlooking him. Look, if you knock down Rory McDonald, you're in a rare club. If you win a round against Rory McDonald, you're in a rare club. If you can go 25 minutes with Rory McDonald, you are in a rare club. Lima is that good. Whether he's the world champion or now he falls back to the number 1 contender, he's that good. And I don't feel like I have to convince anybody about Rory, man. That guy's something special. He's a one-legged man in an ass-whipping contest. He takes an entire round off, comes back, somehow regroups, and finds a way to win. It was an inspiring performance. And then you look at the card. I believe Michael Chandler is the best fighter we have under contract. Move for move, skill for skill. Aaron Pico's the scariest teenager to ever get in the ring. It was just an awesome night. My own teammate Bamba went out there and fought his heart out. I thought that Royce's son, I thought that he got some great experience, great job by his opponent, but I thought he did a good job too and maybe learned a couple things. It was just a really good night for me, and that's as a fan. I'm speaking to you as a fan. I loved it.
Chael, over here. With each takedown, were you counting how much money you were winning at the end of the night? Was it just tallying up with you?
No, I never thought about it. I never knew how serious to take it, but it did feel good to get him down. I was trying to pass his guard. I had a hard time passing. He was very strong. Went for a can opener. I tugged on that big neck of his. It didn't budge an inch. He was a really powerful guy. I put 2 arms on one of his. I had him locked out. I couldn't budge it. It was like an iron pipe. He was a strong guy.
And what did he say? What did you guys say to each other after the fight? It looks like you guys already.
He was very nice. He said, "Good job." He said, "You had a great game plan," and he said, "You surprised me with the boxing." And I said, "Thank you."
Yeah, it seemed after the first round that Rampage was getting tired. Did you feel him getting tired at all after the first round?
I could hear him breathing a little bit. I didn't notice that it really slowed him down, but I had a big problem in that fight finding my range. I was talking about that earlier, but I had a big problem engaging and getting in there. I was circling a little bit. I knew he couldn't reach me, but when I wanted to come in and reach him, he was a little far out, and it was just a little bit tough. And that's my comment.
And after the fight, people were booing you in the arena, and you being the heel. Did you embrace the hate for you?
Oh, I didn't know they booed. Did they boo some? I didn't know that. I was listening for the boos, and I didn't get them, and it disappointed. I even asked my sister afterwards. I said, "What was with that crowd tonight?" I couldn't hear him, but good. Thank you. F them. Thanks, guys.